The U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom says threats against religious freedom are on the rise across the globe. In an annual report released today, the group is once again asking the State Department to add 6 countries to its list of worst offenders: Central African Republic, Nigeria, Pakistan, Vietnam, Syria, and Russia. They would join 22 other countries accused of violating their citizens' religious freedom. Joining us now is Daniel Mark, the chairman of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, also known as USCIRF. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Really glad to be here.
Why is the State Department reluctant to put these 6 countries on the list?
Well, there's a different story for each one. In the case of Pakistan, one we've long advocated for, sometimes we say the worst country not on the CPC list. It's probably because we cooperate with them very closely on military matters, anti-terrorism, Afghanistan, and to instigate them further with this kind of slap across the face is probably not something they want to do.
And Syria, we've just witnessed again an alleged chemical attack by Bashar Assad on his own people. Russia is also on this list. Why won't they do that?
No, you're asking great questions, and there's so many different complications. In Syria, part of it is, what's actually a political conflict and what's a religious conflict, and so many variables that go into that. In the case of Russia, frankly, Russia, we recommended for the first time last year. This is only the second time because things have gotten so much worse. But Russia is an important player on the world scene, and maybe the administration, last year I said, well, it was their first go around. They want to figure out the process, but maybe they don't want another thing to fight with Russia over at this time, but we think they should.
Mexico. If we want to talk about religious freedom, we have reported here at EWTN News Nightly the 2 murders of priests in Mexico. Why isn't Mexico on this list?
Absolutely. And one thing to stress is that we can't cover every country in the world, and we try to cover the ones where the abuses are the most systemic and widespread. Now, Mexico, there are many problems, and we're watching it very carefully. At this stage, we don't see the issues in Mexico rising to the same level as some of these others. It's not in Afghanistan. It's not in Iraq. But we are keeping a careful eye on it, knowing that these problems are growing, sadly.
You say religious freedom is deteriorating around the world. Is this because people are apathetic about this issue?
Well, fortunately, I think we're at a time where people are less apathetic than ever, and that's good. At the same time...
More apathetic?
No, less
Okay,
apathetic.
All right.
I think we find ourselves at a time where there's more awareness about this issue, more interest. Now, not as much awareness and interest as we want.
As you want, of course.
But more. It's working. It's growing, the interest and the care around the world. But we're also facing worse. I mean, the barbarity of ISIS, that we dealt with over the past years is something that had never been encountered before in the world. And Russia's growing authoritarianism, China, and so on. And so it's not because people in the West don't care, but I think the challenges are getting greater.
And I know that you're calling for the administration to take action by the legislation on the International Religious Freedom Act. So best of luck to you on that. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate your time. Daniel Mark, the chairman of the U.S. Commission on Religious Freedom.
Thank you for having us.